Hello and welcome back to the Frugal Granny channel. My name's Ali and I'm Frugal Granny. I'm a 65-year-old semi-retiree trying to make the best with what I've got since I left my office job at the end of June last year, 2025, and getting my state pension at the end of July 2027. Today's Magazine Monday, but we're going to do something slightly different to normal today. It's going to be more like a coffee and catch-up Thursday today. Unfortunately, the way the calendar has fallen at the end of January, beginning of February, has meant that there are too many financial issues to cover if I did them every Thursday at a time. Some things would be very out of date by the time we got there. So I'm going to deal with some financial topics today instead of the usual food and household issues. If you're new, it's really lovely to see you. Thank you for dropping by. I'm glad you found me and I hope you'll stick around. And if you'd like to subscribe, that would really help me and it doesn't cost you anything. If you're a returning viewer, again, I'm really pleased to see you. Thank you so much for all your comments, especially those on my last video. I haven't had a minute this weekend to get round to answering them all personally, so I've put a little heart next to all of the ones that I've read, just so that you know I've heard what you've said, and I thank you so much for adding to the discussion and helping to build our little online community. And by popular request, I think you've probably guessed by now, Bells is back on the bed. She's fallen asleep and she's snoring again. So to those of you who are new, the noise in the background is Bells the pug. She's a rescue pug and she likes to be where I am. And so she's on the bed and she's snoring, and most of my viewers seem to like it. So, and apparently some people do turn the sound off and put on the captions. Honestly, I cannot please everybody, so I'm pleasing myself here, and Bells is back on the bed. Right, so today I wanted to do a financial roundup of my consumables for January. I've not done a monthly roundup for at least 3 months now. I've not done one for November or December, and to be honest, my finances in those months were quite complicated because I was shopping the deals, I was preparing for supermarket staff discount week, and I was strategizing how best to stock my pantry and freezers to take advantage of that annual scenario. And it was just too complicated to try and explain that to everybody, never mind on a monthly basis or even on a weekly basis. But things are getting back to normal now. January and February, there was a little bit of stocking up in January, but I can account for that a lot more easily in that context than I could in November and December. So what I'm going to do today is go through where my disposable income went in January. Now, for those of you who are new, all of my income streams go into what I call my buffer account. And then at the end of every month, or beginning of the new month rather, I pay myself a £1,400 monthly living allowance. A lot of that goes into sinking funds to cover utilities, running my car, firewood, etc., etc. I've spoken about my sinking funds before, and I will link that up in the top right-hand corner. But what I'm going to focus on today is what happened to the consumable income that was left. Now, in January, that was £202 and a few pennies. That was a little bit more than it usually is. It's usually about 180, and the reason it was more is because, as my regular viewers know, my old pug Kitty died just before Christmas, and she had a monthly medical subscription with the local vet practice, and they cancelled that direct debit, and so that extra £19.50 got added to my disposable income in January. Actually, what happened is that the cancellation request didn't go through terribly efficiently due to the way the holidays fell, And so they did actually charge me that money, and then they refunded it back. And when they refunded it back, I just absorbed it into the shopping that I was doing that month. Rather than go through my expenditure for that month line by line, what I did last night is I sat down, copied and pasted it into another tab on my spreadsheet and organised it into categories so that I could see what spends I was making in what categories and what the totals were for those categories. Once all the direct debits had gone out and the sinking funds were topped up, I had £202 and a penny left, and that included the medical subscription for Kitty having gone out. So what we've got to remember is that another £19.50 will come into play further down the line. Now, what I usually do is budget £45 a week for 4 weeks for consumables. That includes my food, dog food, toiletries and cleaning materials. I skate through a week 5 if there is one. And then I allow myself about £20 a month discretionary spending for myself, which is effectively £5 a week pocket money. And then I just see what's left, basically. Having said that, I have decided to change things up for February, and we will talk about that on Thursday before the beginning of February disappears. Right, so let's have a look and see what I did with that £202. And was it a penny? £202 and a penny. Let's not forget the penny. So when I look at the categories that I've arranged my spending into and totaled that up, it comes to £221.12. And I think if you add the £19.50 medical subscription to the £202 and a penny, it just about adds up within a few pence. And I had 36 pence left over at the end of January, so that will probably make up any discrepancies. So let me just go through the categories of spending that I used for my disposable income in January. Now, the largest one was stocking up. I was still stocking up my pantry, and for stocking up I spent £99.55. That's quite a lot. There was a reason I did that, and I will come back to that later in the video. Then my general grocery shopping came to £61.50. So that's about £15.38 each week. So that means I've had about £30 a week of my consumables income left over, which is why I was able to use £99 to stock up. Then, because I was not spending terribly much on general groceries in January, I managed to put £30 into my cash emergency fund, and along with the £10 from January's YouTube income, I was able to cap off my emergency cash fund that was completely depleted this time last year when I had to pay the builders for the emergency chimney repair. They didn't just take the little bit of cash that I had, but it cleaned out all my sinking funds. Now that I've got my emergency fund back up to where it is, and my little bit of cash just in case the cash points go down, now I've got that back up to where I want it to. I never want to think about this chimney emergency again. It's been the bane of my life for a year. I spent £21.14 on household items, and I'll tell you what those were in a minute. And I spent £6.84 on items for other people. And £2.09 went onto my normal credit card to just pay the balance on some firewood that I bought from the supermarket using my firewood sinking fund for January. The whole total of that came to £221.12, which I don't think is too bad. I had 36 pence left over at the end of the month, and I moved that into my personal online saver. Right, so let's just have a quick look at the groceries that I bought. I mean, they're a rather random batch of groceries. I was living very much off still living off Christmas leftovers, little bits that I was picking up here and there from the colleague's shop at the supermarket, and things that were in the pantry and the freezer. The first thing I've got here was wine, pecorino and bananas. Honestly, what is the world coming to? That cost me $18.87. And then I did some payday shopping, which I've not listed. That would have included things like toilet rolls and bread, milk, things that we use on a monthly basis. And that was £19.04. And then there was a random 45p there that I don't know what it was. 6p that I paid towards a sandwich that I think I'd got a top cashback gift card. It didn't quite have enough on it to pay for the sandwich, so I had to pay an extra 6p. Then there's some milk, 1.49. Yes, I found a batch of Richmond sausages on the yellow label counter, and I paid, where are they, £4.76 for those. I think I got 5 or 6 packets, which went in the freezer. And I know the jury is out about Richmond sausages, but in this house we do like them. Then there was some random yellow sticker items for £1.59. I bought some oven bottom muffins for £1.44. Then a bag of potatoes and a case of water. That was £3.51. Then I bought a top cashback gift card because I suddenly remembered I was paying for all these groceries and had forgotten to get a gift card. I really was not organised enough in January to have put all these little bits on a gift card. So I thought, well, I'll finish the month the way I should have started it. So I got a £10 gift card. Honestly, don't know what I spent that on, but it would have been random grocery items. And that's the only trouble with gift cards, is that although you get the cashback savings, it's a lot harder to see what you bought unless you're perusing your receipts assiduously. There's some big words, perusing your receipts assiduously. Then I bought a sandwich and some eggs, and I had a gift card, and I used 29p to spend to cover the balance. So those were my random bits of shopping for January. Yeah, and that added up to £61.50. It doesn't go very far now, does it? The biggest item was my stocking up, and I think I did a stocking up video, One Magazine Monday in January. I don't think I was totally transparent in that video because I did buy 10 rump steaks, and I felt very embarrassed about that, and I didn't want to show them. They did go in the freezer, and they're there for when my middle son visits. And again, I'll explain what I was trying to do with the stocking up when we just get to the end of this analysis. Then I bought quite a lot of Ryvita that was on offer. That was £7.56. Then there was a really big stock-up shop for £90. That was the one in which the steak was included, and I think that steak was about half of that shop. I think it was about £45 for the steak. The reason I wanted to buy that, apart from the fact that my son and I do like a steak every now and then, is beef is going to shoot up in price this year. I did say in one of my earlier videos that there were a few things that were going to shoot up this year, and they were beef, coffee, olive oil and chocolate, and already within 4 weeks of this year I've seen those prices shoot up. A lady brought some olive oil, just the 1 litre normal supermarket olive oil, through the tills last week, and it's now gone up to £7. I still need to check how much it actually was when I bought it, but I do think that has leapt a lot. I'm not sure if it was £6.25 or £6.75, but the fact it's now gone to £7, that's a new high for olive oil. The ground coffee that I buy has gone up at least another 25p in the last 2 weeks. And what was the other thing I mentioned? Beef. Yes, somebody brought some just normal beef through the till last week, and it was coming in at £7.50, and I was just like, oh my goodness. Yeah, the fact I put 10 steaks in the freezer, I'm not really going to apologise about it. I was embarrassed about it because to me steak is a luxury, and I'm glad I did, because those items that I mentioned especially are creeping up. Well, they're not even creeping up. The prices on those are going up, and I've noticed that other people on social media have been saying the same, especially about steaks. There was one lady mentioning she couldn't believe turkey drumsticks were £4. I can't believe that either, and that justifies me getting that whole turkey for £12 in the Christmas sales. I've still got the 2 drumsticks in the freezer, and they're worth £8 now, which means that the rest of the carcass I got for £4 equivalent. So again, I'm not apologising about the whole turkey and chopping that up for the freezer. I think desperate times, need desperate measures. And I'm trying, to stay calm inside, but quietly I do feel that we are in desperate times, if not even more desperate times than they were. Anyway, I'm going off track there a little bit, but stocking up, yes, that's really why I've done it. And I feel as if I've got a good food security buffer now. Food security has always been very close to my heart, and I do think if we've got the means even to put away a little bit, we really do need to do that. Right, the next category. Okay, we don't need to talk about the cash saved, because cash saved is cash. Household items, 21.14. I think I did mention in one of my January videos that I'd gone to Dunelm on the way back from a run to the tip, and I'd bought some coffee mugs. Those were £8. I bought the Joe Grundy calendar, which I used to frame for prints in my back room. That was £6.77. I bought myself oh golly, what are they called? Those candles in a jar with the lumpy lid. I'm sorry, you're seeing me have a midnight moment now. Not a midnight moment, a midlife moment. Oh my goodness me. Those candles in a jar that smell from America, those really expensive ones that are about £17.50. Well, the Christmas flavours were on clearance, and I got one for 63p. I saved a lot of money on that candle, I really did. I still can't remember what they're called, and I know you're all going to tell me in the comments, but in actual fact I bought 3, but the other 3 have gone into the gifts for other people category, because I bought 4. I kept 1 for myself and I gave 3 away. There really was a feeding frenzy on those candles during that shift. It was quite funny to behold. Oh yes, I think I mentioned I'd bought a Pyrex roasting dish because they were on offer. They were down from £12.75 to £6 or something. And when I heard that we were getting an unexpected 15% bonus period, and those dishes came back in, they'd been absent for about a fortnight, and then the next day I came in for my shift and a customer came through with one in their trolley. I had to do a trolley check, and there was this roasting dish, and I was like, oh my goodness, sir, where did you get this roasting dish? He said, oh, there's piles on the shelf. When I had my break, I went and rescued one and I bought it. And so I now have 2 of the Pyrex roasting dishes, and that one cost me £5.74 because of the enhanced staff discount. So I've now got 2 of those, and I'm really pleased. And so the household item spending came to £21.14. And that leads me to purchases for other people. I've had to split the candle purchase up because 3 of them went to other people. So I spent £6.84 on things for other people. I bought a Chinese New Year lucky keyring for my middle son. One of those cats that does this. He likes those. So I got that for him. And I bought 3 candles, which I gave to friends. That was £1.26. It's saying here that I saved... No, 2 candles were £1.26, and the saving on those 2 candles was £26.74. Okay, and then the other candle would have been 63p, and the saving was £13. So the one I bought for myself was 63p, and the saving was £13. I think they were marked up at 70, but the 7p is the staff discount. Okay, so 2 candles and a keyring, and then I actually paid for an item for a customer. A gentleman came through rather late at night at the beginning of the month. He'd bought some razors, and he was in a bit of a rush, and he'd realised he'd forgotten his wallet. He hadn't even got his phone on him. He'd just rushed in, and so I tapped my debit card for him and bought his disposable razors for £3.60. Sometimes you just have to, and it just depends what it is that they're after, but I could see that he was in a hurry and that he really needed those. So yeah, I did that for him. So that was £6.84, and then, as I said, there was a random £2.09 I had to pay to my credit card to cover a firewood purchase, and that was my spending for January. My disposable spending, £221.12. I know other frugal bloggers also include income and expenditure from other random things in a roundup like this. So I just thought it would be interesting to see what I managed to achieve with my supermarket loyalty card in January. Now, on my app on my loyalty card, it will actually tell me how much I saved in a particular month, but because we've now rolled over into February, that information has gone, and it's now showing me the information for February. But thankfully, I was sensible enough to take a screenshot of that, I think on Friday or Saturday before the month ended. And it is telling me that I saved, and this is notional because, you don't actually see the money in your hand, but by having a loyalty card, I saved £99.36. Now, it says £83.78 of that was due to loyalty card prices in the supermarket. So things that were on a loyalty card price for loyalty card users, that saved me £83.78. And then I was also in January using something that is called Club Card Plus. Now that saved me £14.42, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And then I had coupons that saved me £1.16. So my total savings by using my loyalty card last month were £99.36. And that's sort of notional savings, really. It's like money you never had, but it's still good to know that I'm getting things a little bit cheaper than if I didn't have a loyalty card. Then other savings, which are a little bit more tangible, are my loyalty card points. I'm not taking those as I earn them. I've opted to put those into the supermarket Christmas Savers scheme, and as of the end of January, that scheme for me stands at £9.25. Then I have had £13.88 top cash back as the result of using gift cards this month. I didn't use them for my own random bits of shopping, but I did use them for my monthly shop and for my stocking up. And so I've had £13.88 of top cash back, which I have taken as a supermarket gift card, because if you take the cash back as a supermarket gift card, it is bumped up by 2.5%. So I've had gift cards from Top Cashback worth £14.22, and that's gone on random grocery shopping. So technically speaking, although I spent £61.50 of my own money on grocery shopping, there was also an additional £14.22 of Top Cashback gift cards that went the same way. Before we finish, I would like to say that I am a member of something that is called Club Card Plus. It is a subscription loyalty card with the supermarket that I work for. You pay £7.99 a month, and then you get 10% back on 2 large grocery shops that are up to the value of £200. So if you go in and you do a £200 grocery shop, you will get £20 off. And I do have customers that come in and do that regularly. I do have one customer as well that comes in and does that as 2 trolleys worth, and they do it all in one fell swoop. Now, obviously, I'm a single person. I live on my own, apart from one of my sons who comes and goes. And so using Club Card Plus on a monthly basis isn't really viable for me. So the good thing about Club Card Plus is you can turn it on and off. So as long as you go into manage your settings before the date the subscription is taken and turn it off, the subscription for the following month will not be taken. So you can effectively have a subscription holiday until you've run your stocks down far enough for you to warrant, as a single person, to go back and spend enough money to take advantage of that discount. The reason I did a bit of stocking up in January is because I missed the deadline by which I had to go into my settings and turn off the subscription. So it took the subscription for January, basically because I wasn't concentrating. So in order to at least get my money back, I needed to spend £90 on stocking up to get the 10% off, so that I at least got my $7.99 back, so that money wasn't wasted. So my Loyalty Card Plus subscription's now turned off, probably for a few months until things run down, or until I see that there's an offer worth taking advantage of. And thankfully I managed to claw back the subscription that I lost by negligence, basically, in January, by doing a little bit of stocking up. So if you do buy a lot of groceries on a regular basis, Loyalty Card Plus subscription might be worth considering. I have pointed it out to a few customers, and I've got 1 or 2 customers who've been quite grateful to me for that. Yeah, so that is what Loyalty Card Plus is all about. And mine's turned off for now, but it is very useful if you are going to do a big stock up, or if you've got a large family and you spend a lot of money on a regular basis. The other thing that I've found really useful, and I'm still trying to get into the habit of using it, are the top cashback gift cards. Yeah, as I said, I've managed to claw back £14.22 of real money this month through that, and that's not to be sniffed at. So going forward, as I've implied, there won't be any more really big stocking up from me, but I have decided to incorporate into my budget going forward a £20 a month stocking up budget, which is effectively Kitty's vet subscription plus 50p. So that's where I will be going with my February budget, and we'll see more about that on Thursday. So I can hear that Bella's snoring up a storm in the background, and I'm sorry about the noise that's coming through the window as well. They've decided to do some roadworks in the next street, and there's not really terribly much I can do about that. But anyway, I'll see you on Thursday, and I hope that's been of interest to you. On Thursday we'll look at February's budget, and that will be a lot more of what I would call a normal month. The 2 months over Christmas have been completely abnormal. January's been somewhat abnormal, but more normal than not. But hopefully February life will be back to normal. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on Thursday for coffee and catch up. And I've taken a little bit of sneaky footage of Bella before I started filming today to see if I could get her to be a little bit more lively for you. Anyway, thanks a lot. Bye bye now.
T&Cs.